Okay, so we're here to install an outer impact heated brake system on a Polaris Axys. And we've already tore the machine down to this point. You'll need to get the machine torn down to this level so that you can get access to the electrical pouch. You're also going to need some tools to do that. Some of the tools would be a flathead screwdriver, small flathead screwdriver, you may need that. 3mm Allen wrench, 10mm socket. We have a zip tie gun, zip tie cutters, snap ring pliers. So on the brake lever itself, the main pin for the brake lever is held on with a snap ring. We've already removed that. The parking brake pin is held on with a retaining washer, and we've already removed that. These two bolts came out of the ECU that was attached to the intake, and the RCA power accessory is already unplugged. This particular machine has a bag system already on it that uses that port, so we're just going to adapt into that. So the first thing we need to do is just lift this panel up so we can get some access in here. I got a board handy to hold this up, and we want to unvelcro that. And in this particular case, here is our RCA plug. This is part of that bag. Normally you would just plug in directly to the other port. Our heated brake system is going to go in through this spot right here, and the control box is going to mount there. Heated lever switch over on the other side. So we'll start that process. The first thing we need to do is take the screws out of the switch, the handlebar switch. This will help us installing this up on the bar, or getting it through the network that we have to get through here on the main machine. So we're going to go over the top of this wire, push it in there. We do not want to go in there. We actually want it to go through the center with all the rest of the wires. And so we'll push it over there. And it's easier to reach through the other side to get to that. Pull that up through there. We're going to trace the heated lever wire the same way. Okay. And our box is going to come in here and sit right in this area right here. The heated lever wire will follow the rest of your wiring harness here up into this point here, and your switch will follow these up to a point up here where we can mount it. You can also mount it here if you don't have anything in the way, but in this particular instance we're going to mount it up here because of the heated bag. Okay, so the unit can be plugged in to that, and then this pouch can be resealed. As it houses all of the wires. We're also going to take two large zip ties, as this is a good time for this. I take the end of this zip tie and I'm going to fold it around so it has a bend in the end of it, which will make it a little easier to get around. Move that up into that area there. I'm going to do another zip tie here. Do the same thing. Put a bend in it. Try and help myself get around this a little bit better. Okay, now I'm going to use my zip tie gun to to finish tightening these things to the wire loom. We like the zip tie gun. It makes it easy to put zip ties on. So now we can go ahead and take our lever off. Remember, I've already removed the clip, which we'll want to put back when we put our heated lever on. We also want to transfer the parking brake to this lever as well. Just line up the holes and reinstall your original pin. You'll put that on, and when we go to put this on, we need to be careful. There's a parking brakes or a brake light switch there. We don't want to break that off, so we want to make sure we're pushing up on that. Put in our pin. Then we can start routing our wires, and we'll probably route them in this manner. We want to make sure that the lever is free. That looks like a good spot. We're going to zip tie this on here. Again, we want to make sure that there's enough freedom of movement that this can flex and it's not too tight. Right in there looks good. Okay, even if that's, this is pulled up, it'll be right there. I'm going to take the zip tie gun and go ahead and tighten that up right now. Now this will just follow the rest of these around, and we can plug in the connector here, push the wire down, make sure everything is tied together. With the provided zip ties. Go. Just get the bottom of that. Zip tie that in there as well. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so now we can start on the, well, let's go ahead and crimp these zip ties off. Pretty good. Now we can go to the other side. In this particular instance, we're going to need our 3mm wrench in order to install it on the cap. So we'll need to get a little space between these wires here so that everything will fit. We're going to want to try and mount this in this area right here. Let's move this bag out of the way here. There we go. Okay. Everything's looking pretty good. Except for that wasn't good. To see where that screw went. Alright, there, that's a little better. Let's see if we find our screw here. Seriously. To find another one here. All right. Need to run the other screw up in. When you install these screws, you're going to put a dab of blue Loctite on them so that they don't rattle out. Okay, now that that's in the position we want, we can go ahead and zip tie the rest of that down. So we're just going to follow the existing wire loom. Just tie it right into that. Trying to keep the wires nice and snug and secure. They're not hanging out. In this particular instance, that bag covers up most of this. Wrap one around this point right here. There we go. Now we'll get the zip tie gun and torque everything down. Looking pretty good. Last one. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and show where all of the zip ties are at. We've got one here. The heated brake lever is free to move. Doesn't have any stress on it. Got another one here. Got one here. And got one here. It's just following the wire loom down. On the switch side, it's mounted up here by the throttle block. Got a zip tie here. One here and one down here, so that takes you down into the bottom. All right, so now after you make sure you got your clips back on your main pivot pin with the clip and your parking brake, make sure those clips are put back. You can test fire the machine at this point, verify that the lever works. This is high, this is low, center is off. Happy trails.